So I have to be upfront here in saying that this video on developer NotGames Not For Broadcast, seeing a full 1.0 release on the 25th of January after 2 years in early access and available through my link in the description on Steam, is one that I am being paid to make. PR reached out and asked me to make a dedicated video, something I normally wouldn't do for a whole host of reasons. But there's also a reason that this offer in particular spoke to me, and what ultimately drove me to give this a go. The team has been remarkably accommodating and encouraging in just letting me do my own thing. There was zero pressure to spin things. I can sleep soundly knowing my opinions remain not for sale. And the reason I'm stating this is because that kind of confidence in allowing critical freedom towards their game in their press and marketing outreach is both evident and well earned. This sounds odd, but there's a part of me that wishes I wasn't being paid so I didn't have to couch my genuine positive opinions in all this disclosure stuff. That is to say, take this with whatever grain of salt you need to. I'd highly encourage you to check out other coverage of the game, the overwhelmingly positive reviews among its impressive 300,000 copies sold, for instance. But honestly, when I was signing up to make this video, I was not expecting to love Not For Broadcast in quite the way I immediately did. This self-described full-motion propaganda simulator is funny, dark, and subversive in equal measure, and crucially, all in ways that play to the strengths of games as a narrative medium. Let me give you an example. This subversion in particular really does become apparent from the minute you load up the game and head into its tutorial. It starts off simply enough, a phone call from your supervisor designed to demystify the daunting array of buttons, screens, and meters comprising the control room before you, as he informs you you'll be handling the upcoming live broadcast of the national nightly news on your own. Sure, this seems breezy enough, except wait, I missed that one detail about loading in the ads. Can we go back a minute? No, okay, my protagonist seems to say, as we move on to the amplitude meter that has its own set of controls to manage interference on the broadcast. And wait, there's 2 audio feeds. Right, one's delayed for broadcast by a couple of seconds, of course, and oh, okay, we're going to the ad buttons, but wait, there's all this chatter going on in the live feeds. Thanks to the broadcast delay, I can't really make out the words being said, but it sure doesn't seem pleasant. Should I be paying attention to that? God, I want to hit that big red censor button so badly. Wait, the phone call's still going, explaining the rules of cutting in a live broadcast to boost audience retention while reassuring me that everything's going to be okay, and geez, what is going on here? I can't handle this mess. And then you realize you've been had, and this is entirely the point. Sure, the game does a good job of keeping you vaguely aware of the various mechanics you'll have to keep your eye on in ensuring the broadcast goes to plan, but it also keeps a comprehensive understanding of them just a little out of reach. See, more important than the mechanical minutiae is hammering into your head the bigger picture, that you are tasked with making sure the nation gets its news, that it's delivered in an entertaining, audience-friendly way that appeases both the broadcaster and larger government so you can keep your job while internally dealing with the various professional and societal dilemmas that come with being a tool of propaganda, all while essentially inhabiting the role of Jeremy the Spotty Kid from The Simpsons. And with that premise, things are guaranteed to go comically, catastrophically, wondrously wrong. And it's with that in mind that I personally think this game's sweet spot is actually its hard mode. Not hardcore, that disables a lot of UI that's pretty vital to have on, at least your first go around, but the hard difficulty. This mode doesn't make the game impossible to play or anything, far from it. It doesn't take long to intuit the kind of moment-to-moment rhythm the game expects from you. It just means that there's more chaos, more fun things happening at any given time for you to react to. It's a chaos that, to me, jives well with the sheer mayhem occurring on or just off screen. I mean, anyone who has any experience with live TV will tell you that the smiling, relaxing facade going out for broadcast often belies absolutely frantic, seat-of-your-pants tension behind the scenes. But it's also important to note that the game is more than prepared to respond to that resultant disarray. It's non-linear, with over 43 hours of video across its various news segments, interviews, and ads, the latter of which you choose to run and can have a more dramatic impact on multiple aspects of your experience than you might initially think, but we'll come back to that in a bit. Crucially, the chaos of this mechanical storytelling also bolsters the larger plot, examining different segments of a country as it declines into bright, smiling, dystopic turmoil, reframing many real-world topics of the day in its own style. In terms of tone, it's a mishmash, that decidedly English tradition of dry, sardonic humour as shot through a confetti cannon of complete over-the-top wackiness, all delivered with gleeful bravado yet grounded by campy production values. You know, despite being a very tight mechanical package, it's also delightfully scrappy in a way that I really appreciate, where you're learning the function of the censor button by navigating the minefield laid out by a prime minister getting a bit fighty during a press conference after a few pints. There's some genuinely hilarious stuff in there. Overall though, the success of the written comedy itself will obviously be subjective, and taken on its own out of context, there are definitely some segments that were a bit lol random for my liking, but that's the beauty of Not For Broadcast. Its mechanical storytelling is so strong that even if you're not sure whether this brand of comedy is your thing or not, with that hard mode selected and the increased havoc being thrown your way, you're having to so constantly focus on reacting to a million different things going wrong at once that you end up instead getting these great little glimpses of the nonsense you're working so hard to broadcast. Wait, what's that about the climate scientists shouting on the beach about how we're all doomed? Hold on, I can't focus on that. The wailing alarm of the interference dial is going off, so I've got to slowly match up the amplitude. But wait, the valves are dangerously hot to the point of bursting, so I've got to move this fan around to keep them cool. But Jesus, the fan keeps breaking. And wait, she just said shit and fuck a bunch of times, but the sensor button is on the other screen, and oh god, the valve just burst and now the power is out. There's no broadcast and the audience is changing the channel. Whatever happens, the news has got to go on, whatever personal danger it might put you in. And in these smaller snippets, instead punctuating your mechanical tomfoolery, I found that the actual comedy of it all felt far more cohesive. What's more, all of this speaks to a larger curiosity the game instills in you over time, maybe getting you wondering about the actual message that's going out there underneath the surface level madness, how that narrative is being controlled, and how you might alter it yourself. The game consistently tantalizes with some kind of drama going on in one of the camera feeds, but to actually hear what's going on, you've got to briefly interrupt the main broadcast while simultaneously managing the resultant precipitous drop in viewership. Sure, it might not bear out that way in reality. I'm not sure what audience member in real life wouldn't be utterly transfixed on such strangeness and seeing this side of the presenters behind the news, but hey, it works as an in-game pacing device and gradually builds from comedy to something far more insidious and disturbing. After a certain point, for example, the message comes down from the higher-ups to just keep an eye out for blue points on the waveform that need censoring just like the normal red patches. And because you don't want to get in trouble with your boss, you do it. But hold on, what does that blue represent? We seem to be bleeping for a very long time on some of this stuff. Are these mere swear words we're blocking out here? And it's this kind of discomfort that leads us on to the final, incredibly compelling aspect of this game's puzzle: the text-based quests punctuating your time at work. If the broadcasts are a means of you unwittingly controlling society, driving it in whatever direction you're told to by your higher-ups, then these text sequences illustrate what it's like to simply exist in that society, where the barely competent dude behind the desk fades away and you instead inhabit the role of family man, just trying to get by, with all the human mundanity that entails. The made-up sports game or controlling the footballer's public image replaced with how to approach your teenage son who's acting out, your wife complaining that you're more beholden to your boss than to her, or managing bills when loved ones get sick. In comparison to the zaniness of the broadcasts, these segments are stark, terse. They're remarkably well written, withholding just enough information that you can never feel truly confident in any action you take. There's a subtle, pervasive feeling of unhappiness underlying every choice and a great deal of flexibility in how the game responds. Even if you spend your time focusing on just keeping your head down and showing up on time, hell, even influencing the stock market by playing certain ads for companies that you have a vested interest in, that meter congratulating you for getting your full wages, your financial situation turning from broke to comfortable, you never really feel comfortable. What comfortable entails is a short holiday every now and then, being able to pay off some of those bills, for a bit anyway, just as saying screw it and abandoning all professional obligations has its own unpleasant consequences on those close to you. The tonal shift from outward absurdity to these brief, darker interludes exemplifies that a large part of Dystopia is that feeling of informational overload, being bombarded from every angle with such noise from all aspects of the media we consume and the technology we use to do so, that some people end up just coasting through life, unable to make sense of any of it. In a way similar to the gameplay of the broadcasts, you, as with everyone else in this weird, unpredictable society, end up just trying to get through the day with as little event as possible, just the way those at the top like it. As I say, the game's mechanics are the glue that join every aspect of its themes together. They deepen the game's comedy as much as they keep its darkness just in your peripheral vision, largely avoiding the kind of trite wake-up sheeple vibe you sometimes get from dystopian fiction, because you're actually experiencing it, controlling it, as much of a tool of the government as your visual mixer is a tool of your own creativity. You know, what can I say? I kind of love this game, and I would genuinely recommend you check it out if you haven't done so, or check back in if you were already bought in on the game's early access. Again, on the 25th of January, the full 1.0 release sees the addition of 3 final broadcasts and 15 new ads. Either way, if what I've talked about has interested you, check out my link in the description and get Not For Broadcast on Steam now. And with that, thank you very much for watching. I promise regular programming will resume presently. This has been another episode of Writing on Games. Stay safe, and I will see you all next time.